Got Justin Waller. What's up, Big G?
I have to account to this 5-6 hours things with Myron. Myron is the literal long distance champion of doing a live stream. Like when Myron comes over, it's like, okay, bring all the caffeine. We're staying up all night. He will stay there and answer questions all night.
Oh yeah, we know.
It's like David Goggins of doing podcasts.
Hey man,
infinite energy.
I enjoy it. I love talking to the people, man.
Bro,
so glad you're here.
And it's always good.
So it's been a year, bro, since you've been on the podcast. You've been traveling, doing cool stuff. You're a dad now. Let's get into it real quick, but just tell us what's up with you. What's the new updates?
Yeah, man. Just buying as much real estate as I can. The economy's not in the best place, so we're doing everything we can to add extra marketing to the construction company. These things happen. It's good. So we're doing a lot more marketing online, a lot more events for the construction stuff. We are going to come out with a syndication this year. We bought, we're at 308 doors currently, 7 trailer parks, a 64-unit apartment building, and then a couple of properties I own on my own. Little duplexes, single families, a house in Dubai, a couple houses in Louisiana, some commercial property I have in Louisiana. But I think we're going to go out there and raise some money and make some money with some guys that want to get into real estate. It's a tricky situation. I'm glad we're talking about real estate because with the election and everything going on, like wondering where the interest rates are going to go. So it's like, is now the time where everybody's scared and we buy when there's blood in the streets? And I think that's probably the case. So because the interest rates are high, we're getting better prices, and so we're hoping they drop and we refinance.
Yeah, I picked up 7 houses last year, so everyone's scared. They're like, they see the interest rates. They see the interest rates and they're like, 8, 9%, 7%, and it's like, well, the good thing is when the interest rates are high like that, you can negotiate better terms.
The price,
with the seller.
right?
Yeah.
Because the seller knows that you have that interest rate. They know the reason why. It's very matter of fact. Like especially commercial to me, it's like very non-emotional when you underwrite a deal.
Yeah.
The guy that owns the property, he understands the math. You understand the math, so you just have that conversation. Hey, man, interest rates are 8%. You know that. You know I need this property. You've been getting the rent roll from this property. You know what I can afford and what I can't. And for that reason, I think we're getting better numbers. I think the blood is in the streets right now. The fear is right now, especially all the weekend warrior real estate people.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys being horn dogs, it's Blue Chew, man. Check out Blue Chew, guys. If you guys have issues with erections or whatever it may be and not being able to get a hard on for your girl, get some goddamn Blue Chew, man, so you guys can perform in the bedroom and not have some issues where your girl don't want to take you seriously or be with you.
And look, guys, if you want to have your girlfriend and a girl you're looking at lustfully and smash her too, I'm telling you guys, we want a hard on to be erect for both girls, bro. I'm telling you.
Right.
So tap into that. There's a link down below as well.
Yeah, click the link, use our code, get a discount.
30% off.
Completely discreet. You don't got to go into a doctor's office or have any of these awkward ass conversations, man. Go check it out. Link is below. Get in there because a lot of y'all suffer from erectile dysfunction, man. Stop watching porn, goddammit.
If you jerk off normally, guys, get Blue Chew before the date. Or actually, when you get to your room, take the Blue Chew so you can smash all night long. I'm telling you, bro. Keeps you up.
All right. And that's why we're starting a fund this year. I want to buy it while all these people have to come off of it because of the interest rates because they can't get the price they want.
Yeah.
And then it's going to drop, and then we're going to refinance and make a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah, I think the interest rates are going to drop this year, and that's because anytime it's an election year, one of the biggest things they campaign on is bringing interest rates down. So they're going to definitely bring these interest rates down. Biden's going to want to look good
at the end. That's why he's going to do all this border shit. He's going to try to
Brandon.
Brandon. Oh, Sleepy Joe. I actually find it quite arrogant that he's even the Democratic nominee.
Oh, man.
Just the fact that he's the nominee tells me they're going to rig it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows the guy needs to be in a nursing home.
Yeah.
Just letting him run against Trump tells me they're either going to try to put Trump in jail or try to create election fraud.
DeSantis dropped out yesterday, and Vivek dropped out a couple of days prior. So, I mean, everybody knows that Trump is going to be the Republican candidate. I mean, I think
that's a no-brainer.
I think
the Democrats know that.
It's funny because, like, they would have the elections, right? Sorry, not they would have the debates, and Trump wouldn't even show up. That's
how far ahead he was. You're a big boss when you don't even have to show up for the debates for the property.
Yeah, you never go to the debates, bro.
Competition is scarce,
bro. That is a big mic drop for Trump, and everybody knows, man.
Yeah,
even Ramaswamy dropped out.
Yeah, dropped out like 3 days ago, and then DeSantis dropped out yesterday.
That's crazy.
I think he'll have a spot in Trump's cabinet somewhere.
Hopefully,
Ramaswamy. I think he should be vice president. Personally,
I would take that. Really, I would take him or Tucker.
Yeah. I think him being vice president would be good because the thing I like about Ramaswamy is that he's saying things that a lot of people are thinking. He's relatively young, He understands what the younger voters are thinking. He has some good ideas. The only thing I think is a little bit crazy that he talks about is he wants to like abolish the FBI. That's never going to happen.
Yeah,
like, you can't do that. Like, and here's the thing: the FBI has its problems. Don't get it twisted. I'm not a big fan of the FBI, but you can't get rid of the premier law enforcement agency with that much history in the United States. You can't do it, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to fight terrorism, because that's the biggest thing that's going to keep them alive. Because their number one, they have two primary goals: counterterrorism and espionage.
Why does he want to get rid of it though?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well,
because he wants to get rid of because it's top heavy, which I agree with him. It is top heavy.
Yeah, we know why.
He wants to get rid of it because there's way too much. So the Bureau is actually a unique law enforcement agency where they have a lot of support staff. They actually have more support staff than they have agents. No other law enforcement agency is like that except for them. So I think he wants to get rid of all the brass to the top that makes things bureaucratic. Since Federal Bureau of Investigation, which I agree with. I think that's a good idea. But for him to disband the FBI, I don't think it's possible, because they're just too big of an agency. They have too many authorities. They investigate the two most important crimes. So,
well, we've seen what they've done in the past with certain situations and employees. But further talk, just to move forward ahead.
But they're stupid.
You brought up a very good point, elections. How do we manage to survive? Because I feel like us as creators, we're kind of targeted because we speak a very truthful, speech. How do we kind of like navigate, you think, Justin, in this current marketplace? Because obviously speaking, we're going to be targeted as well in this election year. How would you manage
so it's always going to be the same. I always like to say I don't give a shit who wins the presidency.
Yeah.
And the reason is because winners win in every environment. If you look over the course of history, no real winner that knows he's going to work, that trusts himself to get up and pull it up by the bootstraps and get to work every day, is going to say, oh, wait, the Democratic side won. I'm screwed. I better go home.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just going to find out what the new rules are in the new rule book and play ball accordingly. I mean, winners are going to win in any environment. So I would stress to anybody watching that regardless of who wins the election, you should plan to go to work the same way, which is going to be, what are the new rules? What's in place? What can I do? What can I not do? And then find your ways around it. It's just like if they were to get rid of 1031 exchange, for example, in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But there's going to be something else there that you can do to get around it or find a way. And winners always find a way, and they find a way to win. There's a reason teams use Alabama, for example, in football. Loses his coaches and his players every year. Still finds a way to win.
Yeah.
Winners win in every environment.
It's interesting because people, care so much about, like, obviously we follow politics and everything else like that, reporting on it and stuff, but the reality is whoever's in office doesn't really make that much of an impact.
I don't care.
On your life. I would argue maybe, like, if you're certain net worth, you want a Republican in there for obvious tax purposes, right. But in general, it doesn't mess you up that much. Like, unless you're super, super wealthy, who's in office doesn't matter to you. That's why all the biggest people that donate have a lot of money. Why? Because they understand that who's in office affects them.
They're playing the game.
Yeah.
But that almost goes into a place where you get to a certain level of wealth that you're a part of lobbying in a way.
Yes, exactly.
And you have certain people's cell phone numbers where you can make big pushes and big swings that nobody has to know about, regardless of who's president. And the reason I think things like 1031, we'll use 1031 again, or depreciation and things like that, Democrats own properties too. And so a lot of times when I'm looking at, okay, what laws will they come out with? How far will inflation go? I think to myself, for people to be able to sell product or be able to do certain things, there has to be a certain part of the market that can afford it. And because of where we are as far as being 1%, 5%, whatever that may be, I think that we're insulated from it because we have businesses that make us enough money that we can't get outpriced by the market because we're inside that small group of people that can still afford it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even down to consumer goods, I think that if you're middle upper class, let's say, you're still gonna be able to buy a house, because if they made houses so expensive that only the ultra wealthy could buy it, then they wouldn't be able to sell the houses. So DSLD or D.R. Horton would be fucked. So I think the reason the interest rate's going to always go up and down is to kind of keep that balance. And I'm not crazy about the interest rates, but I do think they're going to fall. I agree with Myron 100%.
So, Justin, let me ask you this then. We talk a lot about real estate here. One of your expertise is like, trailer homes, parks, etc.
Yep.
How can someone go, like, for the audience out there, how can someone go about buying this? Because it's not as expensive as people think.
No.
So how can someone go about buying it and cash flowing on it?
I'll give you a great example of a deal we just did in Ohio. It's 35 units.
Okay.
We have this certain system we use with Google Earth to run down properties of mobile home parks. Actually, I found this one through a war room guy that was using that model. Found this guy.
Go to the war room.
War room guy. Join the war room if you want to do business with me. War room guy sent me the deal. It's 35 units, $600,000. And because of the interest rates, we're like, okay, we'll buy it from you, but we'll buy it from you IO. Called another war room guy.
What does IO mean for the audience?
Interest only.
Okay.
So instead of paying principal and interest, imagine having to pay principal and interest. So the payment is substantially more.
Yeah.
The base payment plus the interest on top. So I'm paying interest only. And what that does, it's on a balloon. So 5 years. So at 5 years at interest only, let's say the bill was $20,000 a month. Let's just say, or let's say it was $30,000 a month if it had been principal and interest. I'm just throwing these numbers out for round numbers, but I'm paying $15,000 a month, which means I'm pocketing that money.
Yeah.
What we're doing, because I think our biggest risk is interest right now, is I'm putting the money back into the property, buying new trailers that are on lots that were not filled yet. So by the time I get to the end of that balloon, I'm going to have so much equity after the new appraisal that it's going to be a layup to get good debt.
Okay.
Another thing that we're doing, so I get the deal from a war room guy. There's another war room guy that had been in touch with me that wanted to get in on a deal. We took money from him, so we're zero money down on this deal. Okay. And now we're filling it with mobile homes. We have a team that's buying off of Facebook Marketplace from distressed sellers. Or we're moving trailers from other parks into the park. We pay to move it, but we have them in there. And we're driving the value of the property up. And then we're owner financing, we're lease optioning the trailers.
Lease to own?
Lease to own. So
smart.
so for example, there's one trailer we bought it for $6,000. We sold it for $20,000. We took the photos that the person that we bought it from had online and then sold it for $20,000. Took the $6,000 from the buyer, paid them off, moved the trailer, so we're in the cost for the trailer, $3,500 to move, and then utilities.
Okay.
And we're almost already in the red. In the black after a few months.
Wow.
And if they ever leave the trailer, we repossess the trailer and sell it again.
What's the average price of a trailer home, you would say?
It depends. So they can range anywhere from $1,500 depending on how much work. I think you can get into a trailer for about $20, $25, really good. And then you can go buy a new one.
That's not bad.
It could be $60,000. But where it's really beautiful is even when they pay it off, you still have the lot rent.
The land.
The land. And you get the depreciation on the land. So, I have 7 trailer parks now, and I think that we'll probably buy another couple this year. I like the apartment buildings. We had a lot of CapEx in the apartments this year.
So question, just for the audience out there, because you went really fast at it. So
Yeah, my bad.
Okay, because I want them to kind of understand this whole, because you're procuring houses in a completely different way. We typically tell guys, hey, go with the FHA loan for your first property, house hack your way in, etc., etc.
I did that.
Yeah, and you're talking now with interest-only loans, etc. How does one go about getting an interest-only loan? Because obviously this is very good stuff, because you're able to basically, instead of paying the principal, you're just paying interest, so that allows you to pocket all that money. And you can do it for a period of time.
I have 2 deals like that too.
And you mentioned that you're paying only interest, but it's a 5-year balloon. Can you explain that to the people?
Cool. Yeah. So let's talk about the negotiation of it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we look at the park and we underwrite it, and we say the net operating income is X, which is the profit for anybody, to make it simple.
Yeah.
So the profit is this. But if I buy it from you for $600,000, the debt service, and I think this is where people really make a mistake. They look at the cap rate, which is the return it would be if you paid cash for it. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. And they look at the net operating income, but they don't think about the debt service. And the debt service can get you in trouble, because
paying your bills, guys.
Paying the bill. It's the cost of money, if you will. But if I pay you 8% on, let's say I put down $200,000 on 400, the cost of that money goes against the profit, and that can get you in trouble. So if I'm looking at it and I say the net operating income and the cap rate says that I should probably pay you, $550 for this place, or $500, especially based off the fact that I'm accounting for the debt service, the 8%. And the owner doesn't want to sell it for that, I say, okay, so it's a negotiation conversation. And we generally send 3 offers, and we want the IO, because then I can dump the extra cash flow into the property. You say, okay, I'll give you the purchase price you want, or a little bit less than the purchase price. We can close the gap. Let's say I offer him $400, and
let's say he wants. Okay, so let's
say he wants $700, which is, they originally wanted $750 for this property.
Okay,
and we're like, okay, but that doesn't work based off of the NOI, which is how it's performing, right? When I underwrote it. But then when you get to the debt service, it really doesn't work. And they say, okay, how about 600? Or I say, okay, how about 600? But interest only, and then you give me 5 years to pay you interest only, and at the end of that 5 years, I owe you the down payment minus the purchase price. So I put down 200 grand on 600.
Okay, so 400.
So I owe him 400 grand.
Yep.
Then I pay him interest only.
Yep.
For 5 years.
Okay.
And then I owe him the 400 grand at the end of the balloon.
Yeah, after 5 years.
Right. So when I'm negotiating with him, and the reason he takes the deal is because he gets his purchase price, he gets a huge down payment, he does not have the tax ramifications that if I would have paid him out with a normal loan, because he would have had to handle that with his taxes.
Yep.
And over those 5 years, he gets this $15,000 a month lick.
Yeah.
You know,
Now,
well, lower in the 600,000, but I have a park for 3.6 million. The guy makes 16 grand a month.
Now, I got a question here. So did you do owner financing in that situation?
Okay. In some situations, the owner will agree to keep his note, or he owns it cash, and act as the bank for you.
Okay.
And what you're giving him in exchange, or pitching to him in exchange, is, if I buy this from you outright right now, you're going to have a huge tax situation. And he likely doesn't have a 1031 exchange. We're going after mom and pops that have owned these parks for a long time and has been their income for a long time. They're tired and their kids don't want to take it. Good. I'll trust it to my kids. But you go to them and you say, hey, listen, what if I gave you 25% down, which would help you through any situation you have right now? It's more than enough money.
Now.
You get cash now. And then over the next 5 years, I pay you this much a month, interest only. And you hold the note for me until I can use the money I save on not paying the principal to make the park better. And so if I buy that park at 600 grand and I take the extra cash flow from the park, and instead of me pocketing it, I fill the trailer park, any of the empty spots. Then when I go get the appraisal, let's say it appraises for $1 million, 1.2 million, I have all this equity, which I can get loan to value against if I need to go into another deal, or I'll be at so much equity that I'll get better loan terms with the bank.
Yeah. And also as well, don't forget, if you don't make the payments, he can just take it back.
He could take it back.
So
and I love owner finance that for him, but I'm going to pay the note because we're going to manage the property and we're putting the money back into the deals.
And guys, so owner financing is something that you can use, especially when the interest rates are high, as a negotiating term with the people. Like, hey, look, the bank is going to want 8-9%. How about you give me a 6%? And you just finance the deal, I'll give you a good down payment. And then Justin goes a step further and he says, I'll make only interest only payments. And what that does is it brings his monthly cost way down because you're only paying interest. And then he's able to take that extra money he makes, invest it into the property. He has 5 years. You think about it. Let's say I'll
refinance most of these properties in the next couple of years.
Exactly.
I'll pay them out early.
So real quick, you said you were paying you were paying like $15K per month, right?
Yeah. So on this we have a 60 unit park.
Yeah.
That I paid $3.5 million for.
Okay. So you paid 3.5, and you're paying interest only. So you're paying. What would have you paid if you had paid with principal too?
I'd be paying like $24,000 a month. But I'm paying like 15.
So you're saving about $10,000.
Yeah.
So guys, you're saving $10,000 a month. He's taking that money, putting it back into the property, right?
I'm buying new trailers with it.
And buying new trailers with it, putting it back in. So at the end of that 5 years, that property is going to appreciate so much in value that when he could do something called a cash out refi.
Yes.
He's going to have way more than enough money to pay the guy back.
At a lower interest rate.
and
Probably 2
have money left over.
Yep. And have money left over.
Do whatever he wants to.
And we're doing this on every property.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
And that's
smart.
the beauty when you do owner financing is you can negotiate the terms with the seller, and then you have 5 years to pay it back. I know a lot of people are like, whoa, hold on, 5 years? What are you talking about? Interest only? Like.
But you're already going to get that with the bank because a commercial loan is only going to give you a 5 to a 7 year.
This is true.
Anyway.
This is true.
So I'm getting my cake and eating it too. I'm helping, and the important part about this is showing the owner
That is going to benefit him.
how it's going to benefit
Exactly.
him. Because at the end of the day, like, let me do the math real quick. If I'm paying this guy 15 grand a month, so if I go 15,000 times 12,
And there's no
times
middleman
5,
bank involved.
he's
You're
going to
paying
make an
direct.
extra $900,000 on this deal. At the end of it, I'm still going to owe him the balance.
Yep.
But at the end of the deal, the park's going to be worth $6 million, and I bought it for 3.5.
Yeah.
And so
wins.
I don't care. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, negotiation. It's not about somebody winning. It's about being creative so everybody can win. Because honestly, if you fuck the guy over and you're trying to go long term with him, he's going to try to take it back somehow. Like, this guy is winning, we're winning. When the rates drop, we'll refi. He'll get his money and whatever I paid him. Let's say I refinance at year 2. Let's say they drop to 6%. I'll probably cash out right there.
Okay.
If they go 6.5,
pay him his money back and be
pay
done.
him his money. I picked up 1.5 points.
Yeah.
And we took all that money over those 2 years and put it back into the park. And that's why I look at real estate as a wealth thing, not as a retire thing.
Yeah.
I don't need the money. I want to make sure I'm rich for sure. I'm buying Lambos, acting like a dickhead on the internet, flying everywhere. I want to make sure I'm rich for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that dude that said I made money one time. Like, we're putting it all back in.
Yeah.
I've been talking to some bankers, and I know these interest rates come high. Think about the people that bought their property 5 years ago, and they're landing at the end of their balloon, and they were taking the cash flow, not putting it back into the property.
Oh, that's the dumbest thing.
Not paying it down, not paying the principal down, right?
Yeah.
So now they have a substantially larger bill with a higher interest rate. They will bankrupt on these properties. I'm getting in touch with brokers and bankers right now about people that are coming to the end of their arms and balloons or whatever. So I can scoop those properties off of them, because they're going to come out the other side, will have not paid down that principal, and because of the debt service, they're going to be in trouble.
Thank you for joining Myron Fresh and the incredible Justin Waller on this Illuminating Money Monday episode. Want more insights, millionaire secrets, and impactful discussions? Subscribe to Fresh and Fit Moneyclips, where we deliver short pods. Don't miss out on the journey to success. Hit the subscribe button and elevate your Mondays with Myron Fresh and their phenomenal guests. Subscribe, stay empowered, and keep it fresh. Push it to the limit.